Footnotes from the Life Application Study Bible. Corinth was the political and commercial center of Greece, surpassing Athens in importance. It had a reputation for great wickedness and immorality. A temple to Aphrodite, false goddess of love and war, had been built on the large hill behind the city. In her popular religion, people worshipped the goddess by giving money to her temple and taking part in sexual acts with male and female temple prostitutes. Paul found Corinth a challenge and a great ministry opportunity. Later, he would write a series of letters to the Corinthians, dealing in part with the problems of immorality. 1st and 2nd Corinthians are two of those letters. Each Jewish boy learned a trade and tried to earn his living with it. Paul and Aquila had been trained in tent making, cutting and sewing the woven cloth of goat's hair into tents. Tents were used to house soldiers, so these tents may have been sold to the Roman army. As a tent maker, Paul was able to go wherever God led him, carrying his livelihood with him. The Greek word translated tent maker was also used to describe a leather worker. Priscilla and Aquila are always mentioned together. They are an excellent example of teamwork and unity in marriage. Priscilla learned the trade of tent making alongside her husband, and they worked, traveled, and ministered together. Paul told the Jews he had done all he could for them. Because they had rejected Jesus as their Messiah, he would go to the Gentiles, who would be more receptive. Others who became Christians in Corinth were Phoebe, see Romans chapter 16, verse 1. Cenchrea was the port city of Corinth. Tertius, see Romans chapter 16, verse 22. Erastus, see Romans chapter 16, verse 23. Quartus, Chloe, Gaius, Stephanas, and his household. Fortunatus, and Achaeus. In a vision, the Lord told Paul that he had many people in Corinth. Sometimes we can feel alone or isolated, especially when we see wickedness all around us, or are persecuted for our faith. Usually, however, there are others in the neighborhood or community who also follow Christ. Ask God to lead you to them. During the year and a half that Paul stayed in Corinth, he established a church and wrote 2 letters to the believers in Thessalonica. Although Paul had been in Thessalonica for only a short time, he commended the believers there for their loving deeds, strong faith, and endurance inspired by hope. While encouraging them to stay away from immorality, he dealt with the themes of salvation, suffering, and the second coming of Jesus Christ. Paul told them to continue to work hard while they awaited Jesus' return. If you have believing friends in other cities or even other countries, encourage them in their faith. Gallo, a Roman senator, served as governor, proconsul, of Achaia, which is modern Greece, in AD 51, and was the brother of Seneca, the philosopher. Paul was charged with promoting a religion not approved by Roman law. This charge amounted to treason. Paul was not encouraging obedience to a human king other than Caesar, nor was he speaking against the Roman Empire. Instead, he was speaking about Christ's eternal kingdom. This was an important judicial decision for the spread of the good news in the Roman Empire. Judaism was a recognized religion under Roman law. As long as Christians were seen as part of Judaism, the court refused to hear cases brought against them. If they had claimed to be a new religion, they could easily have been outlawed by the government in effect. In effect, Gallio is saying, I don't understand all your terminology and finer points of theology. Handle the matter yourself and don't bother me. Crispus had been the leader of the synagogue, but he and his family had been converted and had joined the Christians. Sosthenes had been chosen to take his place. The mob could have been made up of Greeks venting their feelings against the Jews for causing turmoil, or it may have included some Jews. In any case, They beat Sosthenes for losing the case and leaving the synagogue worse off than before. A person named Sosthenes is mentioned in the 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 1, and many believe this was the same man, in time becoming a convert and a companion of Paul. Luke may have included this detail to show that a man who suffered persecution for Jesus, even though he didn't believe in him at the time, amazingly became a follower of Jesus later.